Hello everyone, welcome back to another tutorial in this COVID-19 pandemic season. I'd like to dedicate these series of lessons to the parents. Thank you very much for all the hard work you're doing at home. Together, we're a team. Thank you very much. Today, we're going to be looking at some of angles in a triangle. We're looking at some of angles in a triangle. Now, the previous knowledge that I want you to take with you as we go throughout this is to remember what an angle is. An angle is a measure of turn. It is formed when two lines meet. So here, I'm turning from there. If I was facing that direction and then I turn that direction, this turning is called an angle. And just like how we would measure time in seconds, minutes, and hours, we measure a turn in degrees. Turn is measured in degrees. So here we have an angle. An angle is a measure of turn. So today I want you to take that fact with you. I also want you to take the fact that angles on a straight line. So if I was going to move from here to that point, and I continue to move there until I make a straight line, I would have gone half of a full turn. And remember that a full turn is 360. So if I've gone half of a full turn, which is a straight line going across there, then I would have gotten 180. So angles on a straight line is 180 degrees. Also want you to remember that angles at a point. So this time I've turned to there. I've decided to turn a little bit more to there. And I've gone back around to where I start from. It's called angles at a point or angles on a circle. Angles at a point are angles that makes a full turn. All of that is 360. Also, remembering that if two lines cross, here we have angles being formed. So we have 4 angles being formed there when 2 lines cross. These two are what we call vertically opposite. Remember to use the word vertically. So vertically opposite. These two are going to be the same, and then these two are going to be the same. They're vertically opposite. And at the same time, all of them together would give 360. So I want you to take that with you. So that knowledge, we're going to build on that knowledge. Okay. So, as I said, today we're going to be talking about angles in a triangle. First thing, let's talk about the different triangles that we have. We have that triangle there. What do we notice about that triangle? All the sides are different length and all the angles are different size. This one is bigger than that one and that one is bigger than that one. So they're all different size. So because the sides are different length and the angles are different size, this is what we call a scalene triangle. So that's a scalene triangle. Then we have another type. We have this type, doesn't matter how we turn it, that type there. And this is what we call an isosceles triangle. An isosceles triangle is usually recognized by the 2 lines on the 2 sides that are equal. Because in an isosceles triangle, you have 2 sides that are equal and 2 angles that are equal. So 2 sides that are equal and 2 angles that are equal. So here we have the angle that is between the 2 lines there, the one that's different. These 2 base angles there are the ones that are the same. So here we have an isosceles triangle, ISOSCELES. An isosceles triangle where we have 2 sides that are the same, 2 angles that are the same. So 2 sides and 2 angles are equal. The next one that we have is an equilateral triangle. So an equilateral triangle is usually indicated by 3 lines on there, 3 lines on the side. These 3 lines say that all 3 sides are equal. If all 3 sides are equal, then all 3 angles are going to be equal. And this is what we call an equilateral triangle. EQUILATERAL. Equilateral, an equilateral triangle. In an equilateral triangle, in this case, all of the 3 angles are the same measurement. If angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees and all of the angles are the same size, 180 divided by 3 is 60. So in an isosceles triangle, all three angles are the same. Each angle in an isosceles triangle is 60 degrees. In a scalene triangle, it's different. It depends. So if this one is 40, that one is going to be 40. So that makes it making it 80. So this one would have been 100. It all depends. So in this one, it depends on the number you are given. In this one, each angle must be 60. In this one, all three angles are going to be different. So we're looking at sum of angles in a triangle. This is a scalene triangle. All angles on all sides are different. This is an isosceles. Two angles are the same and two sides are the same length. This is an equilateral triangle. All sides and all angles are the same. So each angle in an equilateral triangle is 60 degrees and all the sides will be the same length, whatever length you are given. Okay. So in today's lesson, we're not going to be focusing on equilateral triangle, and we're not going to be focusing on isosceles triangle. We'll do that at another time. We're going to be looking at a scalene triangle. Now, what is the sum of the angles in a triangle? Let's discover that. What's the sum of the angles in a triangle? So, here is a triangle. So we have a triangle here. We have two lines. This is turning point because I'm turning here. We have two lines meeting here, so an angle is formed. So that's one angle. Here's another turning point because I've turned there. So here another angle is formed. Here I've turned right here. So this is a turning point. Another angle is formed. So in a triangle, we have three angles. Now we're going to discover what the sum of the angles of a triangle adds up to. So now let's look. Here, I'm going to tear off all three angles. So here I'm going to have this angle and I'm going to tear it off. There, I've torn off that angle. I'll come to it later. I have two more angles. This one, I'm going to tear it off. I've torn it off. Here, I've torn off the angle. Now I have the third angle there. I'm going to tear that one off as well. Here, I've torn off that third angle. Let's see what happens when I put all of these angles together. Okay, so let's remove this one. This is one of the angle of the triangle. That's one angle that was torn off. That's one of the angle of the triangle. Now, let's look at another of the angle of the triangle. That triangle that I had, I've torn off all three angles. So that was one angle. Now, let's put the other angle right beside it. So we've had, those are the two angles of the triangle. Okay, let's make sure that the angles point are the same. Now let's look at the third one. This is the third angle of that triangle that I have. I'm now going to put it right beside it like that. What do you notice? Do you notice that when I put all of the three angles together, they make a straight line? Here we have all of the three angles together making a straight line. There we have a straight line. So that's why angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees, because a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. So that's the reason why the conclusion is drawn that angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. Because if we put the angles together, if we tear all three angles off and line the angles up together, they make a straight line. So hence the reason angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees, because angles on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's do some calculations of angles in a triangle. Now remember, today we're only looking at a scalene triangle. So I want you to assume that these lines are straight because I'm using a freehand. So they're supposed to be straight, but they might not look straight because I'm using a freehand. Okay, now I'm going to say that is 26. Let's call that 26. And let's call that 38 degrees. I'm asked to call that, to find that. Let's call that A. Now, what do we know? We know that three angles in a triangle, the three angles of a triangle, adds up to 180 degrees. So if I want to find this one, I need to add these two together, take it away from 180 to see what this one is. So 26, add 38, 8 and 2, 10 and 4, 14, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have that 64. 180, take away 64. 4 from 10, leave 6. 6 from 7, leave 1, 116. So we know that A is equal to 116 degrees because angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at where we have a triangle looking like that. Now this time, I want you to find A. I'm giving you that this one here is 30 degrees, and I'm giving you that this one here is 110 degrees. I need you to find A, and I need you to find B. Okay, let's call this one A first, and call that one B. So I need you to find A, and I need you to find B. What is happening here? First, if we look here, we see a straight line because that's a turning point. These two, an angle is formed here from these 2 points, and an angle is formed here from these 2 lines here. So here we have a turning point. Here, angles are formed. But these 2 lines, these 2 angles, that one and that one, together made a straight line. So we have a straight line there from that turning point. We also know that A is one of the angles inside of a triangle. So we could find B if we know the value of A, because angles on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. We can't find B at the moment because we do not have enough information. We need to find A. But how are we going to find A? A is located inside of the triangle. So because A is located inside of the triangle, I know angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So I have 110, which is that one, plus 30, and that's going to give me 140. 180 take away 140 is going to be leaving us with 40. So therefore, A is equal to 40. So I know that angle A is equal to 40. How are we going to find angle B? If angle A is 40 and this is a turning point, we know that these two together form a straight line because that is the turning point. So I know A plus B equals 180 degrees. I know that A plus B equals 180 degrees. So therefore, this means that if A is 40, B is going to be equal to 180, take away 40, which is going to give us 140. So we know then that B is equal to 140. So B is going to be equal to 140 degrees. A, angles in a triangle, add these two together, take it away from 180, we get A. B, angles in a straight line, so we know that that is going to be equal, that was 40 because we worked it out. Angles on a straight line gives us 180 degrees, so therefore B is going to be equal to 140 degrees. Okay. Let's look at one that looks like that. Let's call that 33. Let's call that 78. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Let's call it 98. Now I want you to find A, I want you to find B, and I want you to find C. How are you going to find A, B, and C? Let's look. Depends on which one you want to find first. Let us decide that we're going to find A first. If we're going to find A first, what facts do you know? Here we have two lines crossing. Two lines crossing there. There is the turning point. If that, here we have vertically opposite angles. So if that is 98, that means A is equal to 98 degrees as well. Now, we want to find B. There are different ways we could find B. We could say B, everything around here gives us 360 degrees, because here is a turning point, and if I go all the way around, I get 360 degrees. I could add 98 and 98, and when I get that answer, I take it away from 360, and the answer that I get, I'm going to now half it. So I could say 98 plus 98, 2 8 16, 2 8 2 9 18, and 1 19. So I'll get 196. Then we'll have 360 take away 196. And we get 164. That 164, we will now half it, and then we're going to be getting 82. So this would have been 82, and that would have been 82. That's one way which we could look at it. But we didn't have to look at it that way. We could say, if that is the turning point, there we have a straight line. So if we have a straight line there, then that and that together is going to add to give 180 degrees, because a straight line is half of 360. A straight line is 180 degrees. So I will use that one, which is the easier one. So I have 98. I'm going to take 180, take away 98. So here, we're going to have 8 from 10 is going to leave us with 2. And then we have 9 from 17 is going to leave us with 8. So we have B is going to be equal to 82. So we have B is equaling 82. So B is equal to 82. Let's find C. How are we going to find C? Where is C located? C is located inside of the triangle. So C is one of the angles of the triangle. We have 1, 2, 3. C is a missing angle in the triangle. We know that angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So the first thing I have to say, what is the sum of these two? So we have 98 plus 33. 8 and 3, 11, 9 and 1, 10, and 3, 13. So we have 131. To find C, so C is equal to 180, take away 131. And we're going to be left with 49. We're going to be left with 49, so C is 49. So if we look at that again, we're asked to find A. Here, two lines cross, we see vertically opposite angles. That and that will be the same. Here we can ask to find B. We could look at the full circle, or we could just say angles on a straight line adds up to 180 degrees. Take that away from 180 degrees, and we get our answer. To find C, C is located inside of the triangle. It's one of the angles inside the triangle. We know angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. So we add these two together and take it away from 180 degrees. Okay. What about a situation where we have here we have two triangles there being formed. So let's make that a little bit better. So okay. So let's call that 65. Let's call this one 78. We're asked to find A, we're asked to find B, we're asked to find C, and we're told that this is 20. Now, how am I going to find A, B, and C? Let's observe first. Here is a turning point. So if this is a turning point here, here we have a straight line. So here is a straight line. So this angle and that angle make a straight line. This angle and that angle add together to give 180 degrees. Now, we cannot find B because we do not know A. So we do not know what to take away from 180 to get B. So we've got to look. How are we going to find A? A is a part of a triangle. It's one of the angles inside of the triangle. So we can use angles in a triangle. We have 65, we have 78. 8, 9, 10, 3, 13, 7, 143. So that is going to give us 143. Now we have 180, take away 143. 7, 3. We have 37. So A is equal to 37 degrees. We can now find B because we know that here is the turning point. That line, if I should use a different color pen, here is our turning point here, and we know that here we have a straight line. This being our turning point, so let's put our turning point there. Here we have a straight line. So that angle and that angle together on the straight line is going to give 180 degrees. So here we have 180, take away 37 to give our answer for B. Okay, so that's going to be 7. 7 from 10 leave 3. 3 from 7 leave 4, and we have that 143. So B is equal to 143. So we have B being equal to 143. B is equal to 143. What about C? Because we have just discovered that B is equal to 143. What about C? Here, C is one of the angles inside of this triangle. So C is one of the angles inside of this triangle. This angle is 20. This angle is 143. If I add them together, I'm going to get 163. That 163, I'm now going to say 180, 180, take away 163. So here we have 3 from 10 leave 7, 6 from 7 leave 1, we have 17. So C is equal to 17 degrees. So if we go again, here we have, we're going to find A. So we add 65 and 78, we get 143. 143, take that away from 180, we get 37. So A is 37. And if we want to find B, we know that B is angles on a straight line. So we say 180 take away 37. And if we do 180 take away 37, we're going to be left with 143. So we know that B is equal to 143. Then we're asked to find C. To find C, we know that C is inside of this triangle here. So if we want to find C, we're going to have to add 20 plus 143. And we're going to be getting 163. We're now going to have to take that 163 from a 118 and we get 17. So C is equal to 17. Okay. So let's just do a quick recap. What were we looking at in this lesson? We were looking at angles in a triangle, and we were specifically looking at angles in a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle is one in which all sides, all angles, and all sides are different. We looked at how do we discover, how do we come to that conclusion that angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. And we did a demonstration where we showed that if I have a triangle, I tear off all 3 angles, then I put the angles together. If I put the angles together, we will find out that the angles together form a straight line. So hence the angles in a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. We also looked at where we're going to be using our other skills of angles on a straight line, angles in a triangle, opposite angles, and angles at a point. They all come in at different times. So again, just one quick question to round up. If I was given that, and I know that that is 120 degrees, if I'm given that that is 40 degrees, and I'm asked to find A, B, C, I could look at it that one, that's vertically opposite angle, so no calculation is needed. So that's 120 degrees. To find B, that's angles in a triangle, adds up to 180 degrees. So 120 plus 40 is 160. 180 take away 160 is going to be left with 20. So B would be equal to 20 degrees. To find C, there are many ways we could go about that. We could go about looking at it as angles at a point, because that's the turning point. All of those four angles going to add to give 360. So I could add that and that, which is going to give me 240. Then I'm going to take that away from 360, which is going to be left with 120. I half it, I get that, and that is going to give me 60 each. Otherwise, I could just say, here I have my turning point, and there I have a straight line. So angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So 180 take away 120, and I'm left with 60 degrees. So C will be equal to 60. Hope this helps you to understand some more the concept of angles in a triangle. Thank you very much.